Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video we've got sort of two pieces of news from Plarium, one from me. You can probably guess what the one from me is already. Let's dive into it. We've got CvC starting tomorrow, which means when this tournament timer counts down to 0 and CvC begins, I will be here on YouTube streaming, so I'll see you guys for our regularly scheduled CvC stream. It is happening tomorrow. Hopefully I don't sleep in. If I'm a bit late, that's what happened, but I'm planning to be there on time. It's going to be a chill one. It's not personal rewards. It's pretty chill. 2x Minotaur, 2x Arena, 2x Iron Twins. Yeah, it's going to be pretty chill, just working on some champs and stuff like that. But we can chat, ask your questions, and it's always a good time. Now, we also have news on some champions, a 2x for this CvC, and it's kind of spicy, right? So this is out in the middle of nowhere. We just had a bunch of crazy shard events the weekend. You probably don't have too many shards, but there are some interesting things in here. So it's progressive chance events both days. The first day, Cracklin the Blackened, Duchess Lilitu, Ultimate Death Knight, Grand Oak Podrick, Noct the Paralyzer, Stana Amberheart, Incensa Grailbearer, and Raka Viletide. I mean, I would not recommend Noct. I'm just not a big fan of Noct, unfortunately. Grand Oak Podrick, very strong pick, right? Great ally attacker, fully restores destroyed max HP, speed booster, heals your team as well. I think actually I'd give him a ton of potential. Full cleanses too. He's very strong for Hydra, very strong for Fire Knight. He's got a ton of potential against the Chimera as well. So he's a strong pick. Ultimate Death Knight is decent, for sure. If you don't have Ultimate Death Knight, he's good. Duchess is really good as well. I feel like Podrick is maybe more useful, though, overall, than Duchess in the game these days. Like, Duchess is probably stronger in the arena, for sure. But, like, in other areas, Podrick's probably stronger. But Duchess does give you Perfect Veil, which is quite a rare buff for Hydra. Cracklin the Blackened, I'm not sure about this guy. I didn't actually play test him yet. I mean, he looks hilarious, but he's a weird one. Reflect damage, continuous heal, and restoring some destroyed max HP. This is nowhere near as good as Podrick, who fully restores. Fully restore destroyed max HP is just like 10 times better than even 50%, just because of how it works, right? Because everything's fully restored in one go. With restoring 50%, you can never fully restore it. It's funky, right? Then he's an AoE decrease accuracy weaken and increase the duration of continuous heals. Then his A1 can put heal reduction. And this is what brings them together for me. Teams up with a random Ogren tribe ally. That could be kind of nice. And then whenever continuous heal activates on an ally, 50% chance to decrease the duration of all debuffs on that ally. He's kind of interesting. Probably not worth... I mean, here's the thing, guys. Podrick, Lilitu, Ultimate Death Knight, these all have proven value. I'm going to give him a little dot. I'm intrigued. I don't know how good he is. He's got 25 reviews for now. People think he sucks. He might be better than that. It depends how good your Ogren are. I guess the A1s from the Ogren aren't that impressive. I mean, Vizugs is nuts. I mean, if you've got like Gizmak Vizug in stock, yeah, he's okay with... I don't know. He's an interesting champion. I'll say that for sure. But I wouldn't recommend pulling for him. But I don't know. Maybe... I don't know. The reviews seem to say he's pretty terrible. He might be better than that. He's a weird one, though. So I wouldn't recommend pulling. He could be a champ, though, that I could easily see them doing like 150 Ancients for a guaranteed Cracklin. I could see that happening for sure. Which, again, would make me not recommend. And then I don't really recommend Noct. From the Voids, Senna is actually great. Incense is actually great. And then I wouldn't really recommend Raka. Senna has definitely grown on me. So Senna revives dead allies, so team revive, and then ally attack, right? Full ally attack with people that are revived. Weird, but you can definitely do some niche things. Like you can go into Fire Knight hard, have everybody die except Senna, and then she revives everyone, and you get your full ally attack, right? You could do some weird stuff with it. Then she's increased speed and 2 continuous heals with turn meter boost, and her passive is great. When a continuous heal activates on an ally, fills the turn meter of all allies by 5%. And at the end of her turn, she increases the duration a bit. I think her A1 activates continuous heals as well. Speed in all battles aura. She's actually a phenomenal speed booster that brings a backup revive. So she has like I said, you can do some weird Fire Knight stuff. She's definitely a champion that has grown on me massively over time. I know YST has her and he loves her. He has a ton of fun with her, finds her very strong. I think you could do some cool stuff in Hydra with her as being like a speed booster. Yeah, just a really strong speed booster that brings a revive. That's actually very, very powerful. Surprisingly powerful. She could be very nice, potentially against the new the new Chimera, right? Brings a backup revive. With the ally attack, potentially, could be very good. And again, lots of speed, lots of healing. Could actually be quite strong. I know, for example, one of the Hydra forms can steal your buffs, but he can't steal continuous heals, which is unique. Wow, people, never mind. Apparently, I was thinking she's underrated. People giving her a 5 for Hydra. It's me who's the fool. So there you go. But yeah, Senna's actually very interesting. She's very, very interesting. And who is the other one? Incense is very good as well. She's in some of the top Hydra teams. Her A1 is super strong, right? Brings in the ally with the highest crit damage to join the attack, which is really good. And she brings you decreased defense and weaken. That ignores block debuffs. You can also give Poison Cloud to somebody, which is interesting as well. Yeah, she's a pretty cool one. She's pretty cool. She has again, she's the champion that could have some fun niche uses with Poison Cloud. Like, I don't know, maybe that single target form of the Chimera, where he's just targeting a single ally. Maybe slapping Poison Cloud on them is actually really impactful. I don't know. Like, there's fun stuff you could do with her. She has proven value though with the A, just spamming the A1. She is in some of the top non-Trunda, but some of the top non-Trunda teams for Hydra, because she brings the decreased defense weaken, and then just you can spam your ally attacks, which is very good. So she's, I think, well worth going for. So yeah, lots of great stuff day one. Day two, Elva, Autumnborn, Pythion, Underpriest Brogni, Gwendolyn the Silent, Freya Fate Weaver, Cardiel, Nekret the Great, and Clydna. Now, one thing about day number two, actually this is a benefit for Duchess as well. Block debuffs looks to be pretty essential for the new Chimera. Probably. You could probably also use increased resistance, and maybe you can go without it, but honestly it seems to me that block debuffs, protected block debuffs, is essential for like all of those forms. Elva, Pythion, Brogni, not Gwendolyn weirdly, but Freya as well. These other ones all give you block debuffs on a short cooldown, and they need protection set, but you get them into 9-piece protection. And any one of these champions could be amazing for this new Chimera, I think. You know? Could be really, really strong. So I would definitely consider them. I would consider their value as being pretty good. Like, Freya could be really nice, actually, for this new Chimera. Could be cool. So they're all a maybe. But probably not as good overall as the champions on day one, I would say. Like, I don't know. I'd probably be rating Duchess a little bit higher. Grand Oak Podrick maybe a bit higher. It's tough. I'd be more so going for day one. Out of all of it's hard to rate them out of all of these. Like, Brogni might see a resurgence against this new boss for real. Like, the shields, I think he's naturally protected shields, and block debuffs is actually pretty good. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. The voids are pretty good though. Cardiel is good. Cardiel is actually very nice. He could, again, in protection set, bring you protected block debuffs. He could bring you a revive on death. Could be very nice for this new boss. Ally attack, healing. He could be very, very solid. And he's okay in arena. He's probably quite good in siege. He's very good for Hydra. Nekret the Great is also solid. Nekret the Great, he's kind of come back into the meta a little bit just because there's so many more alternatives now, with just the power creep in the game to Narses, right? Like, when Narses came out, I feel like it was just all Taras Marishka and maybe some Nekret teams like Georgia and stuff, and then Narses came out and really changed up the meta. I feel like, again, we've gone so far that Nekret actually has, I kind of wish I had a Nekret, actually. He'd be pretty useful for just, arena, mostly arena. Could be okay for, again, the new Chimera too, maybe, if you manual it. And Clyde, oh, sorry, no, do not pull for Clydna. Clydna is absolutely terrible, by far the worst out of all of these. Would she do anything for Chimera? Is that where she might redeem herself? Clyde, can you redeem yourself? Block debuffs, revive on death. Okay. With a full cleanse. That's actually good. Decrease speed leech. Okay. Restore destroyed max HP and heal everybody. A1 sleep. I don't think sleep works against the boss. Block the incoming damage on the first hit of an attack on a random... Yo, she's the Chimera champion. Clydna came in, right? She came into the game. And she was baiting us this whole time with revive on death, restoring destroyed max HP, sleep A1. She's been playing the long con, guys. For what, over a year probably. We're thinking she's clearly a Sand Devil champion, but she sucks. No. She's been a Chimera champion this whole time. Chimera chance. She's a 60% chance to block the first hit of an attack once per turn. Some of the Chimera bosses just do single target attacks. That's huge. Block debuffs, revive on deathful, cleanse and protectant set. Decrease speed and leech are really good against Chimera and healing up. Her A1 sucks. But yeah, that's okay. Yo, she's been baiting us. She's actually okay now. Would I pull for her? Probably not. But if you have her, guys, I think she's one to check out for Chimera for sure. So there we go. Okay. I'll give her a dot. Clydna, I never thought I would say this, but you know, in fact, I'm giving her more than a dot. I'm giving her that much. No, never mind. I take it back. I don't want to rush into things until I've seen it tested. Unproven yet, but has potential. So yeah, for these, I mean, Elva's good, Python's good, Brogni's maybe got a bit more potential. I wouldn't be too keen on Gwendolyn. She's good against Fire Knight hard, and Freya is quite good. I think they're all fairly similar value. I'd actually, you know, whatever. Like Brogni is just sort of getting a bit. I'd say Brogni would not be as useful overall as like Elva or Freya or Python probably, but maybe getting a bit of a value surge against Chimera. So these champs are kind of interesting. On the whole, for me, obviously, I'm skipping these summon events, guys. I'm not doing any of them. I'm not close to Mercy, I don't think, for anything. So yeah, no, for me, it's definitely a skip. Saving up my shards, but there's some decent stuff in there. And definitely some interesting, like I think Senna and Incensa are quite interesting. They're not like the top power picks, but they're quite unique champions. So if you're really close to Mercy, yeah, and you fancy something a bit fun with kind of they're quite impactful on gameplay, you know? Like you really play the game quite differently with a Senna team. It's very different. So that could be something fun, right? Because fun is valuable too, and I think they are strong. But yeah, just picking something that's not necessarily crazy strong is super viable. So yeah, interesting stuff there. And guys, we've got some good news. It's one of my favorite bits of news to share with you. It's champion buffs. We've got two buffs to chat. Two actually massive buffs. Massive buffs to champions that have never seen use before, and I think now could actually be genuinely really good. The first one is Gamoran. He's probably the one that, you know, I think in nearly every video I've done and other content creators I've seen have done where we're calling out bad champions that need a buff, Gamoran gets mentioned constantly. I think this guy is visually super cool. Like, he's one of the best designs in the game. Like, when you zoom out a bit, like, I just love the handprints on the bottom of his robe are so freaking creepy and tie in with his lore so well. This guy is like 10 out of 10 design-wise. He's just phenomenal. So creepy. Terrible champion. He's getting a really big buff. What is happening? So for his A1, he's going to be placing block active skills now for 2 turns. Improve his A1, increase the duration. Really nice. 2 turns of block active skills. Each hit a 50-50 against the new Chimera boss. That's nice. In the arena, that's really nice as well. Block active skills is a great counter to mythicals because not only does it stop them using their actives, it stops them using metamorph as well. I don't think it works against Siegfried, but it works against all the others. So that's a great buff to his A1. His A2, though, is insane. Improved his A2. So after attacking, Gamoran now steals all buffs from all enemies and spreads those buffs to all allies. Absolutely bonkers. Steals all buffs. Oh my god. So before, he would steal 1 buff and then take 1 random buff from him and put it on your team. Now, he steals all buffs and then puts all the buffs that he steals on your entire team. It's crazy. This is one of the best moves in the game for Arena. Like, I'm telling you right now, unless they have protected buffs, like you put in a Gamoran in Stone Skin, and if they don't remove that Stone Skin, you could even do them like 4-piece Stone Skin, 4-piece Pinpoint. They can't polymorph them with an Armands either. They're just kind of screwed. And like, you could just go in, I'm taking all your buffs, whatever. Your Sifi, put out increased defense, increased speed, block debuffs on everybody. Well, unless she's got protection set, I'm taking all of those buffs. They're all going on my team. Thanks very much. On a 3-turn cooldown. It's a huge buff. It's one of the biggest buffs they've ever done. That's actually crazy good. Really, really nice. Then his A3, the cooldown was decreased. This is a minor thing, but I think it works well with his new passive. It will now be a 3-turn cooldown when booked instead of a 4-turn, which is kind of cool, where you can put block revive on dead enemies and stuff like that, or true fear on living enemies for 2 turns. It's okay. I think the big thing here, though, they've improved his passive, where now he will additionally Oh, so with the updated passive, Gamoran will be able to revive a random ally, even if they were killed. Oh, that's really nice. Even if they were killed by damage from poison, HP burn, bomb, or reflect damage. So I guess there was a bug before where he couldn't revive people if they died from debuffs, basically. But now they will. That's nice. Also, he will now revive one random ally with 30% HP and turn meter each time a block revive debuff is placed on an enemy. This is a small thing, but I think it's a nice. Oh yeah, just would not. Oh, never mind. It wasn't a bug. Maybe it was a bug and they added this in because they couldn't fix it, and now they fixed it. I don't remember this being there before, but I could be wrong. I could easily be wrong. Again, I think that's kind of nice. I mean, it does have the 1 turn cooldown, but still, what this means is that you can basically he becomes a reviver. It's a crap revive, 30% HP turn meter. That sucks, but you can come in and you can trigger that fairly reliably. If someone is dead, he can block revive on them, which is great, and then revive one of your team, which is pretty cool. So I actually think it's a nice little buff. I think that's kind of great. So I think Gamoran's got good potential. He's got very nice potential as well with the new mythical, right? He's not in game, but the new Knights Revenant mythical can also do like buff like swapping in Form 1, and he can block revive in Form 2. That could be quite a nasty combo to put the two together as like a sort of go second type team in live arena. Go second teams there. It's a tough sell right now in the meta, but you know, at the high end meta, I should say. But it could be interesting, right? Where you could just you have that threat of just taking all their buffs, and if anyone gets block revived, he starts reviving. It's kind of fun. It's quite an interesting little champ. So I actually think this is a brilliant buff to Gamoran. It's honestly more than I was expecting. I think that this A2 now becomes actually genuinely pretty nuts. Like, it's genuine. If he's like, guys, even if you build him fast, steals all buffs. If you go up against an enemy team with Stone Skin, yeah? You obviously have a 50-50, you can't steal the Stone Skin, but you're stealing from all 4 enemies. You're almost definitely going to steal 1 Stone Skin. And if you do, he'll then put that Stone Skin on your entire team. That's kind of nuts. Like, that's kind of crazy. I genuinely think this is a huge buff. And I don't have a Gamoran. He's got decent base speed as well. He's no base accuracy, unfortunately, but he'd be a pretty interesting champ now. It's actually pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then next up, guys, another champion that has been honestly pretty terrible, hasn't had a place in the game. I think this is a really nice buff that could make him very good for the Chimera, is Opardin Clanfather is finally getting a buff. Want to improve Opardin's capabilities as a dedicated healer and support. Stuff has been, yeah, whatever. So A1, increase the value of his turn meter manipulations to 10%. Small buff to his A1. It was each hit has a 50 goes to 65% chance to decrease enemy turn meter by 5 and boost his by 5. Now it's 10%, 10%. I think that's a small thing. Against Chimera in particular, you can't, I don't think you can decrease its turn meter, but it's a nice bit of turn meter for him. You know, he could be getting 10 to 20% turn meter. It's not so bad. His A2, increase the value of the healing effects. He'll now heal allies by 20% of his max HP, or 30% if they're under continuous heal. That's a really, really juicy heal. This used to be 10% max HP, and then be 15% if they're under continuous heal. They doubled the healing of this. They doubled it. That's a massive heal. Yeah, that's really, really good. Then for his A3, a new effect. It will place block debuffs for 2 turns in addition to the continuous heals. That is huge for Chimera. Again, if Chimera is as reliant on block buffs as it seems to be, this block debuffs, I should say, now he removes block debuffs, removes heal reduction, puts out 2 continuous heals. He also removes another random debuff, and now he's going to give you block debuffs for 2 turns as well on a 3 turn. So imagine this guy now in protected set. You put him into a 9-piece protection set. He is going to give you a protected block debuffs, 2 protected continuous heals as well, and he's going to be cleansing you from those little buffs too. Like, that's actually genuinely really, really solid. That's great. Against Amius, the Lunar Archon, that's great. He can, you know, if Amius turns your block buffs into block debuffs into block buffs, if Amius turns your continuous heals into heal reduction, Opardin, he can cleanse those off and put them right back on. It's actually fantastic. Genuinely really good. So yeah, I think he has a ton of potential for Amius, a ton of potential for Chimera. He's just way better at healing. Like, getting block debuffs on a 3-turn is really, really good. Then his passive, the turn meter fill effect, guys, the passive, turn meter fill, when you get healed by a continuous heal, it fills the ally's turn meter by 10%. That's up from 5%. They've doubled it. They've doubled it. I think it procs. I don't know if it procs on each continuous heal. So I don't know if it's like you've got 2 continuous heals, you're getting 2 10%, you're getting 20%. I mean, even if it's just 10% turn meter, that's really strong. Again, imagine for Chimera, that's really strong. If it procs Perkin, let me know. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, because I've not used Opardin much. Does he boost your turn meter? It probably not. It'd be too crazy, but maybe. If you have multiple continuous heals, like if you pair this guy up with Senna, and she's putting out continuous heals, and she's activating continuous heals, like, the turn meter you're going to get is going to be completely crazy, and you're going to get a ton of healing from both of them. He's bringing you block debuffs. If you put them both in protection set, you've got crazy damage boosts. She's got a revive. It's actually pretty nuts. So, massive buff to Opardin. He's been mostly unused by me. I used him a little bit for some small thing, nothing important, but he's mostly been unused by me for forever. Opardin genuinely becomes really solid right now, and I do think 9-piece protection set pushes him to the next level, because he's putting out 3 buffs with his A3 on a 3-turn, and protected block debuffs is really strong now. So I think Opardin actually really good. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think. I think a massive buff to Opardin, very timely for the what I assume is the Chimera coming maybe this week or next week. I think massive buffs to Gamoran. I think these are 2 of the nicest buffs we've seen, honestly. And yeah, I think a pretty interesting shard event as well, though I will be skipping it, but I think it's interesting if you're into it. But there you go, guys. Let me know what you think about all of this. Very spicy. I will see you for the CvC stream tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Have a good time, and goodbye.